To make the claim that every single world leader respects Joe Biden is so asinine to me that I can't even, like, have you guys seen the clip? I think it's a montage that somebody made of how world leaders kind of interact with Joe Biden as opposed to what happens when they see Trump walk into a room. What's up, boy? Welcome back to Cancel Thoughts. It's your boy, Better Days here. With the election coming up in a couple of months, you guys are going to start seeing a lot more people talk a little bit more about their opinions on the candidates and who they think should be president and who they think shouldn't be president and why and all that. And very recently, the Nelk boys talked to Don Lemon about exactly that. They pretty much asked him questions about Joe Biden and what he thought about the Biden administration and what he thinks about Trump and all that. And he pretty much goes into that. For those of you guys who don't know who Don Lemon is, he's pretty much a hardcore leftist. He's a Democrat, even though he tries to make the claim that he's not a Democrat in this video or whatever. It's ridiculous to me, but it's very, very clear to me that he aligns specifically left. And for anybody who doesn't know about me, I've voted left for most of my life. I voted left in 2020 and I've been regretting it ever since, and I cannot see myself voting left again.
I just can't do it.
It is what it is. I think a lot more people are starting to join me in that camp, but today we're going to be essentially reacting to that clip from the Full Sun podcast, I believe is the name of the podcast today. But before we get into that, you guys already know what I'm about to ask you guys to do. I need you guys to hit that like and subscribe button for more content. Trying to make sure as many people find this channel as possible, and the only way I'm going to do that is with you guys' help. I need your help in doing that, guys. I could be selling drugs right now. I could be fucking up my life and fucking up other people's lives, but I'm choosing to make these videos, so help your boy out. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button, share a video or two. Let's get right into it.
I think that Joe Biden is a fine president. He's doing great things for the country. I really do. Is he perfect? No. Is he perfect on immigration? Can he improve? Yes. Was the Afghanistan pullout, not good? Yes.
Horrible.
Messy. Yes.
Horrible.
But every president has good and bad moments.
First things first, you said you think Joe Biden is doing a lot of good things for the country. You failed to mention what those good things are. That's number one. Number two, you then went right into all of the bad things that I think we all agree on that Joe Biden's been doing.
Seems counterintuitive, but all right.
One of the things that bothers me the most about a lot of these people is they make these vague statements in terms of like, well, he's doing a lot of good things for the country. Well, let's get very, very specific about that, Mr. Lemon. What good things do you think he's doing for the country? I would like for someone to mention that to me. I really don't want to hear anybody talk to me about student loan forgiveness, man. The biggest problem that I have with anybody who talks about student loan forgiveness is the idea that it takes responsibility away from the people who knowingly went into this debt and now are trying to push the buck onto people who probably didn't even go to school or incur all of this debt to begin with. So don't say shit to me about student loan forgiveness, even though he hasn't even fulfilled that promise of wiping away all of the student loan debt either. So
Give me a break.
And so I think in this moment now, I would rather a president who believes in democracy and in the Constitution, rather than someone who says, when I get in office, I'm going to go after my political enemies.
Where did Donald Trump say he was going to be going after his political enemies when he gets back in office? I don't remember seeing a clip of that. I don't remember seeing a video of that. Maybe I just may have been living under a rock, so let me know, because I haven't seen it particularly. I've seen Donald Trump essentially say that we're not going to have time in the next 4 years to try to go after vendettas or whatever because our country's in a bad place, and he's going to be trying to get our country out of the bad place that it's headed toward. Maybe if somebody knows in the comments down below, share it or something like that, but I don't necessarily remember him doing that. And another thing that he mentioned that I want to touch on really quick is the idea that Donald Trump is against democracy, but that the Democrats and the left are not, even though they're the ones who are weaponizing the justice system right now to go after Donald Trump, which is funny enough. It's like 2020 comes, Donald Trump is no longer the president. You guys then wait for 3 years up until the next election to start indicting him. I'm confused. Wouldn't it make a lot more sense if right after he got out of office in 2020, wouldn't it make sense for those 84 indictments or whatever to come out right then and there instead of just waiting for 4 years, waiting until the election's about to happen?
Seems a little convenient, doesn't it?
I would prefer, a president who did not incite an insurrection. I would prefer a president who did not have 84 charges against him and, who didn't have cases and who didn't, so that's.
But the Bidens have had
me.
cases on them and people just cover them up. Like the Hunter Biden laptop.
Hunter Biden is not the president. Hunter Biden has no influence on culture at all.
He doesn't have influence on culture, but he has influence on the president, and the president has influence on culture. So he has influence on culture. You can make it sound however you want it to sound, but Hunter Biden is a very, very huge sticking point in this whole argument. It's like, all right, the dude is obviously a drug addict, and he obviously has proximity to the president of the United States, who a lot of us don't even think is capable of running the country right now. So to say that someone like that has influence over the president, and it's clear to me and a lot of people that the president doesn't have the mental capacity to actually rule the country in the way that he's supposed to rule the country, it's pretty weird to me. It's funny how people can just ignore this and say that, well, he's not the president.
He snuck blow into the White House. He's got to have some influence.
Stuff happening in China, you know.
And I'm not saying, look, Hunter Biden is an issue, right? He's obviously a troubled person.
I want to party with him. Don't get me wrong, but he is.
But he has no influence on culture. He has no influence on government. He's, it's interesting for the news media and for the right wing to, talk about. It's interesting palace intrigue, but it means nothing.
I just think we can't have a president that can't speak.
Thank you. We cannot have a president that cannot give a normal speech. How many times have we all seen videos now, compilations of just Joe Biden gaffes? And now I'm not saying that people don't have normal gaffes, but Joe Biden's gaffes are not normal gaffes. Okay, they're just not.
That's one we can't. Don, we can't.
But here's the thing. You can find instances of Donald Trump not being able to speak.
No, he's a great speaker. He's a
Wait,
great
but can I tell you one thing?
I've talked to him in person.
He's a good speaker, but
I talked to him personally, I know, but he has his moments. I know him personally. I know Joe Biden personally. If I prefer someone who's going to put good people around him and who's smart enough to do that. The man is doing a good job.
He's not doing a good job. Oh my God. And this is a problem that I have with people like Don Lemon. It's just so disingenuous in the statements that he makes and the answers that he gives. It's just like, yo, yeah, everybody has gaffes. Everybody has mistakes. I'm sure that I've made a couple of mistakes in this video, and I'm going to try to leave those mistakes in the editing just to highlight to you guys of those mistakes. The mistakes that I make are things like, well, all right, my brain is moving faster than my mouth can speak, or vice versa, or stuff like that. They're not, I forget where I am kind of gaffes. Those are the gaffes that Joe Biden is making on a regular basis, and not the ones that Trump has ever made or I've ever seen Trump make. Listen, if you can find me the clip of Trump not knowing where he is, I will concede it to you and I will say, you know what, we're screwed. But at the end of the day, Joe Biden is just not the guy. And let me ask you guys a very, very real question. Do you guys think Joe Biden is the one running the country right now?
probably not.
And if so, who do you guys think is actually running the country if you don't think that Joe Biden is the one running the country? Because I would like to know who exactly is running the country, because I don't necessarily think it's Joe Biden. And if it is Joe Biden, that's not necessarily a good thing, seeing that the country is pretty much in shambles from where it was 4 years ago.
Arthritis in his spine, so he's a little trouble walking. Okay, still a good president.
He's got arthritis in the brain, I think, too, or something.
Well, here's the other thing.
I don't agree with
So with
that.
the power of social media, right? The only things you ever see on Joe Biden, him falling off the bike, falling up the stairs, and losing his thoughts. So to the
Like, are you on
average
that side of
person-
Twitter?
But
You see that too?
But what I'm saying is social media is so powerful.
You
That's
guys
all
need
you
to
see.
go history. Go back in history and look at Gerald Ford. SNL would do comedy sketches on Gerald Ford falling over and tripping because he tripped a lot. He fell down. This is not the first time that this has happened.
That's no, but what I'm
Doesn't
saying,
make it right.
Yeah, but it doesn't work. Would you rather someone who falls down or someone who is going to blow up the country?
He was president for 4 years. He didn't blow up the country. That's number one. Joe Biden has now been president for about 3.5 years, and he's about to end his presidency this year. And 2 wars have started since his presidency began. That's number two. Number three, one of the biggest issues that I have with Don Lemon and people like him is they're not saying anything that supports Joe Biden in that, well, these are the things that he does well. These are the reasons that I think he should be president. All they're doing is essentially playing defense and going, well, yeah, he does do this, but this person also did that. And there are also examples in history of these other people doing this. There are examples all over time where, people just like forget things. It's just like, yo, those are not good supportive mechanisms for why we should vote for Joe Biden. They're just not. For Trump, the support is, well, we had 4 years under Trump and the economy was pretty good under Trump. You can't make that argument right now for Joe Biden at all.
How's Trump going to blow up the country? How is he going to blow up? No,
I don't mean literally blow up the country,
okay.
but you know what I mean. Someone who tries to overturn elections. Come on, guys.
It's tough. There's so
I
much
think
I could say about
the
this.
Democrats denied when Trump won too.
I'm not a Democrat. So
Well, I'm saying you are, but I'm saying they did that. They did the same thing.
did what?
When Trump beat Clinton, they tried to say it was rigged. Hillary Clinton still says it.
When Trump beat Clinton, Hillary Clinton conceded and stepped off the
She
stage.
still says to this day that there was something like with it.
But she didn't try to overturn the election.
That's one thing that I am going to say. We do have evidence of Donald Trump trying to say that he wants to find votes or whatever. So I don't necessarily want to just ignore or skip over that fact. It is a very, very bad thing. And the fact that we do have evidence of it is not very good. And maybe the people who are really, really afraid of the idea that he's going to stay in office longer than his term or whatever, that's fodder for them. And I'm not necessarily going to disagree with them there. But the fact of the matter is they just said there that the Democrats did the exact same thing. And you just kind of ignored it there. Like, come on, we can't just... Bad behavior is bad behavior no matter who is exhibiting it, okay? Like, I cannot stress this enough, okay? If Donald Trump did something bad and you're saying Donald Trump did this bad thing, but then someone can point to the very fact that your candidates are also doing the exact same thing, you can't just gloss over that. I'm sorry. You can't gloss over it. Let's continue the last part of this video and then I'm going to end it.
She didn't say the election was stolen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the rig situation, but I personally think Trump, as a leader and what's going on in the world right now, I feel like he's better to handle world leaders than Biden. And no other world leader respects Biden. Like, I think Biden's going to bring us into war.
That's complete. You're wrong on that.
What?
I think every world leader respects Biden. Biden is a diplomat. Biden has been around and he knows diplomacy and foreign policy like nobody's business. The only person who's probably better on foreign policy than him or equal is Hillary Clinton.
But
All right. To make the claim that every single world leader respects Joe Biden is so asinine to me that I can't even, like, have you guys seen the clip? I think it's a montage that somebody made of how world leaders kind of interact with Joe Biden as opposed to what happens when they see Trump walk into a room. If you guys haven't seen that clip, Google it right now or YouTube it or whatever. Like, Google it right now and tell me there's not a very striking difference in how people interact and move when Trump walks into a room as opposed to when Joe Biden is in the room. Like, at the end of the day, nobody respects someone who they don't respect cognitively.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but
the fact of the matter is Joe Biden is not cognitively there, and it's obvious and we cannot ignore it. To even make the claim that he should be president or his administration should be in power is ludicrous. I think at the end of the day, what all of these conversations come down to is people don't like the person of Donald Trump.
You need to grow the fuck up.
It has nothing to do with how he ran the country, because a lot of people, I think, will agree with the fact that he ran the country pretty well. The economy was doing pretty well. A lot of people had jobs at the end of the day. Things were relatively low in terms of an inflationary thing, but they just don't like the person of Donald Trump. They can't see themselves having a drink with him. They don't fuck with him as a person or anything like that, which doesn't make sense to me because you don't know the person of Donald Trump. All you know is what the media portrayal of him is. So, and again, I was one of these people as well. I got, so I understand where a lot of people are, but it's like, it's time to wake up.
they're just such warmongers.
You don't think Republicans are warmongers?
Republicans historically have been, but not Trump.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, like old Republicans, like Bush era and all that. Yeah,
Bolton and
I'm saying Trump. I'm not saying
Cheney
Republicans.
All right, yeah, that's the end of it. The last point that he touched on there is something that I want to talk about as well, because I think a lot of people are of the mind that Joe Biden is this nice person, even though 2 wars have started and it looks like we're marching toward World War III. I personally, as a guy, am really, really afraid of us entering World War III. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I know very, very, like, innately that I could potentially be dying and be forced to, like, fight in a war if World War III comes to that. Because at the end of the day, a lot of women, I don't think, have much respect for this idea that we very, very likely could be entering a war and you're not going to be the ones who have to fight it. And when you start talking about whether or not women should vote or anything like that, I fully support women voting. I fully support them having a say in who the president of the United States is. The problem that I have with the system that we have in place right now is the fact that you are deciding who the president of the United States is going to be. That's potentially going to decide whether or not we go to war, even though you don't necessarily have the responsibility or the capability to be forced to enter a war like men do. So that's the thing there. I'm going to end off this video by saying this, guys. We need to start growing the fuck up as a community, and we need to start growing the fuck up as a country as a whole, because a lot of people think that this presidential election right now is like the lesser of two evils, even though you've had a case study now of both candidates over the past 8 years. And it's very, very clear to me that someone is better than the other person and was better than the other person, and we're living through the misgivings of that other person right now, and we need to get these people out of here. I cannot stress that enough. We need to get them out of here. The country is, inflation is worse than it's ever been in this country, at least in my lifetime. I don't necessarily know about ever in this country. I think the Great Depression was worse, but it's worse than it's ever been in my lifetime. It's worse than it's ever been in a lot of people's lifetimes.
And it's only getting worse.
We've got 2 wars that are going on right now, and a third one could potentially happen if Joe Biden stays in power. That's number 2. Number 3, it's very, very clear to me that Joe Biden isn't cognitively the one running the country right now. And if you guys are comfortable with someone who isn't running the country, then like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm probably gonna then end up just leaving the country, because I don't really know what to do at that point. Like, I'm just gonna throw my hands up and say, you know what, I'm gonna try again in Britain or Germany or wherever the fuck. Like, but let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about this whole situation. Who do you guys see yourselves voting for? Do you see yourself even voting? Do you like both of our candidates? I think a lot of people are now of the mind that they don't necessarily even think they want to vote in this election, and I'm not upset with them, because it is what it is. We found ourselves in a pickle in America, and we're gonna have to find a way to get ourselves out of it. Let me know in the comment section down what you guys think. As always, thanks for joining me on this video. You guys could have been anywhere else in the world, but you chose to be here with me, and I really do appreciate you.
If you liked what you heard today, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you didn't like what you heard, thanks for watching the whole video. Consider leaving a comment in the comment section and telling me exactly what you disagreed with. Either way, thanks for joining me on this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.